Hi, this is Sean. Welcome to Time and Talk. Today I thought I'd make a video about my newest acquisition, which is a Swatch System 51. I realised these watches have been out for a long time, but I thought that they're just so interested. I've been reading a little bit about them, and I thought you might like to hear some of what I've got to say. I also wanted to do a wristwatch check. So this is my Alpinist, and it's on a nice new Milanese bracelet from Watch Gecko. I think it looks really nice. You really can't go wrong with this watch. The best watch, one of the best watches, definitely from between £300 and £400 in the UK. I'm going to do a follow up on this soon, and if you haven't seen my original review, just go and watch it on my channel. Anyway, so yeah, the Swatch System 51. Originally, it came out in 2013. This particular model is part of the summer 2016 collection. And in case you don't already know about the System 51, I'll just run through a few of the specs, and I do think this is a genuinely interesting watch. And even for us watch lovers who like high-end, in quotation marks, mechanical watches, it's really worthy of being on your wrist. The prices range in these from £110 to £200. This one is £110. I actually picked it up off eBay for 35 quid, which is an absolute bargain. But even at full price, it's the cheapest Swiss mechanical watch that you can buy. At £110, you can buy cheaper Seikos, etc. But they're not Swiss. It's so called System 51 because the movement actually has 51 parts in it. I think the idea was to replicate the fact that Swatch quartz movements had 51 parts in them, and they wanted to carry on that trend, if you like, of having 51 parts in the movement. It's 42 millimeters wide. It is just over 50 millimeters lug to lug, and it's 13.90 millimeters thick, according to Swatch. It has a 90-hour power reserve, which is actually pretty damn good. Twice the average ETA movement power reserve. Oh, I forgot to mention, System 51, 51 parts. It's a very simple movement in terms of the amount of parts in it. I looked up what the average is. A Rolex date movement has around about 110 to 120 parts in it. So it's very kind of bare bones, if you like, the movement. There's lots of choice in these watches. This is one of the more simple ones, but you can get bracelet ones, you can get ones with different dial colors and different strap options, leather straps, etc. I'll try and put a video of me going on the Swatch website and showing you a few of the options. It's loomed, so the loom's not amazing, but it is functional. And unbelievably enough, this movement actually claims an accuracy of plus to minus 7 seconds a day, which is just short of chronometer certification, which is pretty amazing considering not only is it the cheapest Swiss automatic watch that you can buy, but it's also completely produced by machine. No human hand will touch this watch as it's being made. Even things like the balance wheel, which apparently, I'm not an expert in watchmaking, but the balance wheel is one of the most difficult things to produce and to regulate, and so it's almost always done with a human hand. It's done by laser, which this is pretty accurate, this watch actually. I've been finding that it's been losing a few seconds a day, but I didn't buy this for its accuracy, and I wouldn't have even expected it to be that accurate. But plus to minus 7 seconds a day is pretty amazing. In terms of the movement, you do get a see-through case back. So the movement there's one screw in the movement which holds all the rest of the movement together. And go a bit closer, and it's welded in various places. See, the rotor is around the edges, the disc there, and it allows you to see the way the movement operates. This movement is actually unserviceable as far as I can tell. In order to see how it works, you would have to break open the back, and I imagine that if you were to service it, Swatch don't offer that, but if you were to want to do it yourself or whatever, you would have to replace the movement and chuck the old one away. So we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting to see over the next few years how long these things actually last. In terms of, I've been reading a little bit about the movement as well, and it's quite fascinating. Some of the materials are apparently used in much more high-end watches, because what Swatch had to do was come up with a solution by which they could make the movement 51 parts and make it able to be completely produced by a machine. So they did that by using, materials that are very light, that are anti-magnetic, which are apparently used in much more expensive watches. And also, the regulation of the watch, it can't become magnetized because it's anti-magnetic, so that's another plus. So in terms of this watch, what are the pros and cons of it? I think in terms of a pro, the price, so it's a cheap watch it's an affordable watch that you don't particularly need to worry about. I've owned two of these. This is the second one, and I've just bought them, on a whim, and then the first one is sold, but I'm definitely going to be keeping this one. They're really comfortable to wear, really good for sports and activities, going to the gym. It's a rubber strap, so it's sweat resistant, things like that. Tell me what you think in the comments, but I think these swatches are awesome to look at. I think they're extremely well designed. I think they're really well put together, and with a swatch, you're getting what you expect, if that makes sense. I think, if you buy a Tissot or an Omega even, or a Breitling or whatever, for a couple of £1,000, one of the entry level, in quotation marks, models, you might be getting a movement that's produced by the Swatch Group, but that you kind of expecting the watch in a sense to be luxurious, if that makes sense. But with this watch, you're getting something that's fun, that's no nonsense, and that's not supposed to be high end, but it will kind of give you some of the fun of a mechanical watch, but a fraction of the cost. I think they're really stylish, these watches, and this particular one, I'll just I've got two swatches. I bring this one in. I basically never wear the one on the left, but I don't know, maybe it's a little bit too much, the onion on the dial, it's a little bit too fun and wacky. The one on the right, I think you can get away with in most circumstances, disregarding really smart wear. In terms of some of the cons of the watch, it does seem to attract quite a lot of dust. The strap, there's a little bit of marking as well due to the buckle, but I would really recommend these watches. I would say if you're in the market for a kind of fun, sporty, casual watch, definitely check these out, and you can pick them up on eBay for a fraction of the cost new, and even new, they're worth the money. I wouldn't expect them to feel extremely high quality in the way that a stainless steel sports watch feels, heavy and things like that. It's made out of plastic, it's light, it doesn't feel expensive, but it's fun, it's a mechanical watch. It's genuinely interesting in the construction of it, if you're a watch geek, in the way it's made. And the question is whether watches such as this, completely machine made for simplicity, are actually the future of Swiss watchmaking, disregarding the really, really expensive high-end pieces. I'll just show you a wrist shot. So this is the System 51 on the wrist. I have quite a small wrist, and it's 42 millimeters, which is relatively big, but This fits me fine, particularly the style of watch. It's supposed to be a little bit bigger. It look a bit silly, being really small. I think the only thing that bothers me slightly, and I've come to terms with it because I've realised that it's not possible to make it any other way, is the kind of way in which the case kind of goes out towards the strap, and it kind of looks blocky on your wrist, but there's no other way of doing that really, and I kind of appreciate why they've done that. So yeah, tell me what you think about the Switch. So yeah, tell me what you think about the Swatch System 51. I love it. So yeah, tell me what you think about the Swatch System 51. I really like it. I think it's an awesome watch for the money, and I think it's actually a genuinely interesting watch from Swatch, and it's something that I'll definitely keep in my collection because it's just so much fun. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Hit me in the comments with your thoughts on the watch, and see you again soon. Bye bye.